All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to what we saw at HBO's Hard Knocks. A lot going on tonight, but we had to make time to watch episode number 2. Lina Washington from somewhere with nothing on her wall, kind of similar to what Luke's setup was last week. JV's in a conference room down the hall, and my messy desk, so excuse me. Lina, ladies first. I thought this episode was better than last week.
Yeah, well, I think in the first 2 episodes, we've gotten a little bit of everything you would probably want in a series. The peaks, the valleys, the adversity, the triumphs, the drama, the families.
And you love the drama. You love the drama.
I'm a messy girl who lives for drama. What can I say? And obviously, we know that there was more drama in the last several days here in Tempe, Phoenix at large within the Cardinals organization that was not depicted in this week's episode, most notably the releasing of running back Eno Benjamin.
Yeah, I think that's all of our biggest, like right off the back, right? I think we all agree, like,
sure,
it ended and it was like, where was Eno? But that's next week, right?
That earlier today, the turn for this whole production, right, is pretty tight. So that happened Monday afternoon. This is probably going to run. I don't know what the deadline is for it to hit streaming platforms and be live on HBO at 7 Eastern. But I really enjoyed this episode top to bottom. I mean, obviously the artistry, the cinematography, you get the family element with JJ and Kalia and the dogs and Koa. You get the Lasita Smith and O-line angle, which shout out to the O-line, the guys in the trenches, very, very rarely get to be featured on camera, but we got a lot of Kelvin Beachum, the appendicitis scare that was another thing that we just did not know what was going on. We got a Rodney Hudson sighting at the O-lineman dinner. And what I also really loved is the buildup of who Colt McCoy is, what he does behind the scenes. I really loved the rack focus shots with Kyler in the background watching Colt, and just to see how it all played out.
They're just stirring the pot for fans to go. You'd go there, right?
Story of what happened last week, because all of those things were true. Kyler didn't play. Colt had to be the backup. That's why Steve Keim brought him in, and he's working with a lot of backups. That's why, like they said, going to work on a Monday is hard. It's even harder when you're Steve Keim and you're losing and you've got half of your team injured, right? So I thought that was really well done. And then shout out to the battle for Arizona Avenue. Steve Keim on dad time, watching his son play for Hamilton, the Huskies beating Chandler. I mean, what didn't this episode have, right? JV, I mean, did I miss anything that stood out to you? And of course, the return of Buda Baker, which was the cliffhanger last week.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Hey, no, JV, real quick, you had a point. JV and I were talking before this started. JV, you think Eno next week, right? Just based on how episodes
I think kind of what Lina was. Yeah, what Lina was saying was just like the timeline of everything. We didn't learn about it till Monday. When everything obviously went down with him getting cut. So I think if they're going to do that, that's kind of more the storyline for this week than it was for last week's. While, obviously everything went down in LA with whatever actually happened with Eno and the assistant coach. So I think that probably will be more featured next week if they show it at all. But yeah, I mean, I think Lina got pretty much everything. I mean, even Steve Keim listening to the radio on the drive-in. I mean, what an episode. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
And the Jefferson family, right?
Yes. Yeah, what was cool is after that Super Bowl, we got a chance to talk with Sean Jefferson. Literally, his son was going viral. That moment was going viral. He just got back to Arizona, had just parked his truck and did a Zoom with us from his garage, like in his truck in his background. And talk about a coach who just exudes energy, just love and everything. Like when he's on the Cardinals, it is full. This is my team. Nothing else matters. When he's cheering on his son, that is my son. That's my team. Nothing he is very good at changing his focus quickly, what he's invested in. But man, he is sure a man of the people. Family man at heart. It was good to see him spotlight him like that. Glad everybody got to see the real Sean Jefferson. That's why so many people throughout football speak very highly of him. I love the name Champ. I know that was unknown for a little while. Very fitting, considering how all that happened. The one thing that stuck with me that they didn't say, but he told us, it was like he wanted to watch the game. That's why he didn't go with his wife and that they wanted to watch the. No, his wife stayed with him. That's why they didn't go straight to the hospital. His son was playing in the Super Bowl.
Right.
They knew they were going to make it to the hospital at some point, but that's why they stayed to watch the Super Bowl instead of go with Van's wife to the hospital. They knew she was in great hands, so they were like, "We're going to stay and watch the Super Bowl. We'll see you in a minute with Van. We'll get him, and we'll see you in a minute."
Well, hey, shout out to the women behind the players and coaches, right? Last week it was Buda's sister. This week it's Marla and Kalia and all of the women of these guys. And I'm going to quote Marla. Oh, Cardinals. I say that all the time. And she was just like every other fan or mom or wife watching their loved ones do their job on pins and needles. But shout out to the women holding it down for all these guys.
Yeah. The J.J. Watt stuff I thought was really, really good.
That was fantastic.
I wish they would show a little bit more of what he went through. I would assume he wanted to keep that private, considering he probably didn't want any of this information out in the first place.
He did everything. He said he went to the trainers, he went to get the EKG, went to the electrophysiologist.
I was waiting for them to be in the hospital with him. With the, she didn't want to. His wife didn't want to watch him shock his heart. I was waiting for that shot. I didn't know what kind of access they were going to get here.
That's for the premium HBO.
Yeah, exactly. That's the HBO Plus. I get it. We did not see Baby Koa. I thought that was by design.
I would think so. Yeah, JJ. He just seems like kind of that private kind of person, so that didn't surprise me at all. I will say I have that same stroller, which I thought was just hilarious.
Oh, well, Brady's riding in style then.
Brady's riding great. He's riding in comfort.
Man, JV dropping all kinds of stuff on a stroller. Strollers are expensive, by the way.
Oh, my gosh, so much. You don't even want to know.
Inflation has hit everything. Also, those things are like Transformers now. They got parts and wheels.
Oh, my gosh.
Lina, you brought up the old line, the Kelvin Beachum part, the popcorn thing. It's cool. We really got a chance to get to know Beach over these last few years here. He still drives. I'm sure everybody's heard the story, but I love this. He just still drives his same green 90-something Tahoe that he used to work on when he was in high school with his dad to work. I think his wife at one point this year left the windows down, or maybe it was last year. So he had to get the window fixed so the monsoon didn't get in. Very humble guy. I thought a lot of his smack talking, you can see how country he is. Like, it was some country smack talking from like Texas deep down in there, had the voice and all. So I thought that was cool to see. Such a mellow dude at times, but sometimes the mellowest dudes, they got a little mean streak to them. And Beach was definitely all about that smoke out there on the field. The popcorn thing was pretty funny because he was probably hurt. Like for an offensive lineman to go through whatever they go through in the trenches, for him to come in and say, "Hey, this hurts, that hurts," like I'm sure it was something. But that's like code in the offensive line room. Listen, if you're not falling over, they're not wheeling you out of there, you're probably going to get it on the back end when they find out it was just because you overate some popcorn, right?
Yeah, we got to see the lighter side of a lot of these coaches and players. I mean, I think JJ is like the comedic backbone of this series so far. Last week, it was him and Buda going back and forth with the fan, who JJ said was the same size jersey as Buda. This week, it's him and Zaven, which they have history. JJ and Zaven are always trading jabs at one another, and it's all in good fun, of course. But this week, it was him and Zaven going back and forth. Oh, your pregame speech that really inspired me to play better. So, and then Zach Allen, the mini JJ Watt. When JJ gets the flag for spiking the ball, I like that JJ. There was just so many like comedic moments. I think even in this season that has been kind of dark, a little heavy, we got a little levity today.
Lamb Chop. Hell of a nickname for Rondell Moore. I don't know if he likes it. We were talking to Hollywood Brown. We'll talk to Rondell tomorrow, but we were talking to Hollywood Brown. We wanted to get over to Rondell, but Hollywood walked in and we were like, "Oh, hey, haven't seen you in a while. You going to play Monday? Maybe. We'll see." So definitely want to get Rondell's take on the nickname Lamb Chop. But guys, real quick, with this, Colt McCoy, they portrayed him like a starter, didn't they, JV? I mean, that speech at the beginning, I tweeted out but it was like, it on purpose. They just wanted to show the kind of command he has of that huddle, right?
Yeah, and I think it was also like, I think for the team, like they obviously didn't let us know, but I think the team knew pretty early in the week that Kyler wasn't gonna play. So I think when it came to the Hard Knocks crew, they obviously knew So they probably put a little extra focus on everything that Colt McCoy was doing last week. And I thought, they just did a lot of really good stuff. There was one point in the meeting room when he said, I'm done talking. I'm so we need to go out on the field and
with Kyler sitting there. By the way, all that they showed, Kyler was right across the table from it.
Oh yeah, it's the quarterback room. Why wouldn't he be there?
Sure,
he's going to hear it.
Yeah. And so I thought, it really showed how ultra focused Colt McCoy is. And it was really cool to just kind of see that. They kind of showed a little bit of Colt last week, but this week they showed so much more. And it was really cool to see everything that he does, how he does prepare like a starter each and every week. And especially this week, since he was, I think obviously they knew to put that extra focus there.
Well, JV, last year when I got to interview Colt McCoy for our Lina's Lounge segment as part of Cardinals Locker Room, I asked him if he is maybe thinking about coaching in his future. And he said, maybe. I'm not going to shut the door on that. And I think this was the clear campaign for Coach Colt McCoy moment, seeing him in the film room, hearing how he communicates, hearing how he talks to his teammates, communicates, holds himself accountable, right? So when he makes his transition, he's still obviously playing at a high level at 36 years old. He will obviously make a very good coach.
Oh, absolutely.
Flip said this week he could either coach or run for governor of Texas.
I think he'd be great at either and would win he is Mr. Texas football, Mr. Texas high school football, Texas Longhorns football. It.
I'll say this: there is no just because a lot of things this week. It's felt like every time somebody says something nice about Colt McCoy, I feel like a lot of people are taking that as shots at Kyler. Mm-hmm. I don't see it that way. I get how you can read into it. I get how fans, national media, we've all talked about this, can overreact to some things like that. I don't see it as anyone taking inside that building shots at Kyler Murray. I also don't see there being any type of quarterback controversy by any means. Tyler's the starter. I don't know how many times we all can repeat ourselves throughout the week because we read tweets, we read what people are saying, we hear the narratives out there on national media. So I just want to clear that up. You can say nice things about Colt McCoy and say how much of a pro he is because these are the reasons you brought him here, and these are the reasons you trust him to be your backup, that everybody loves this guy, that he'll make you fire you up, run through a wall, but also be just as committed to Kyler Murray. And that's exactly what the Cardinals are, and I just hope people can understand that. They can love Colt McCoy, call him Colt McGoat, like Antonio Hamilton did, but they're going to ride with Kyler Murray. This team is all on the same page when it comes to that.
Since when is it a bad thing to have a capable backup quarterback? We saw Colt do this. He's beaten every team in the NFC West in the last calendar year in place of Kyler. But as we know, he can't run 82 yards in 30 seconds. He can't do the Kyler Murray things that he was drafted to do, right? So they both have very different skill sets, different levels of experience, obviously, and they can both be good when their number is called. So if anybody's thinking that there's a controversy or we're taking shots at Kyler or anyone for that matter, I know I can speak for ourselves. I don't think anyone's, taking shots at Kyler when we're talking about how Colt McCoy performed in a must-win game for a team that has been underperforming all season long. So, that's my take on that.
The thing about the details, I think we all can agree, it was cool to see that being preached. Like last week, they preached self-inflicted wounds. What happened that game? It was all self-inflicted, right? This week, they preached details. Let's clean those up. It was good to see that they were actually able to do that. I think they're on to something when they can execute some of the things that Colt did well with Kyler in there. This team can start rolling. They get Hollywood back. I don't think Kyler, this week's going to be interesting because I watched Colt McCoy walk out of that stadium with the knee wrapped in ice about that thick, limping every step of the way. Kyler Murray did today at, media availability. Neither one of them sounded like that Kyler was trending to play. So it'll be interesting to see who plays this week. It's another must win. Guys, get you out there on this. JV, what do you want to see next week?
I'm really interested to see whatever they can get. Obviously, I guess this is 2 weeks, but whatever they get out of Mexico City, that's 2 weeks down the road. But next week, I think it'll be really interesting to see what the quarterback room is like coming out of a win with Kyler dealing with his hamstring, and the offensive line room. How are they getting these guys healthy? 4 offensive linemen being out, that's not. How do they get through that?
Yeah,
they got through it this week. Yeah, they got through it this week. They did hold Aaron Donald in check, which is great. but I want to see, you know, how they move forward, like how they deal with this. Like, is Lacita Smith, like, is he really an answer? Like, is he going to perform next week like he did this week?
Yep,
I
Lina?
thought Lacita Smith's his answer after the Seahawks loss when he was thrown in for his first game, he was really thoughtful in saying that he wasn't really prepared for this. But now you hear him saying, you know, he wasn't expecting to play all year long, but now he's right up there with Kelvin Beachum. He is going up against Aaron Donald. And the way they made Aaron Donald look like Bane coming out of the tunnel at SoFi Stadium was just like the music. It was very ominous. But again, I'm looking forward to seeing more of the feature family personality elements from the coaching staff to maybe we get a Buddy Morris moment from the series. It wouldn't be Hard Knocks without it. I just hope we get it sooner than later. But yes, as I mentioned last week, I want to see all the flavor from Mexico City because I am so jealous that Cameron gets to go. My passport is ready, but I will be holding down in Phoenix. But yeah, I can't wait to see what they come back with all the beautiful flavor and culture and hopefully another win. Hopefully they were able to come back with a win over another NFC West opponent this week. Cam, what are you looking forward to? Even with your trip, what are you planning ahead as you look ahead to going
another offensive lineman I thought played well, Rashad Coward. You know, he's filled in there at left guard. It's cool to see those guys step in and just play well. The belief they had in Smith, you know, Kelvin really coached him up. You know, that's what good teams do, and that's what, you know, good teammates do. And so I want to see them build on that. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, Mexico City is going to be a lot of fun. I want to see how many Cardinal fans are going to show up, what that stadium is going to be like.
I know Yesenia and Levine, she texted us that she will be there, so look out for Yesenia.
Right. I saw a tweet today. It looked like from a 49ers beat person that it looks like the crowd will be 80-20. I don't know how much that's going to be the case. It is going to be wild. It's going to be a lot of fun. Another must win. Yeah. You know, I'm going to stick to this. We buried them a couple weeks ago. I hope that I'm wrong, but if they keep stringing these together and the Seahawks struggle like they did last week, I mean, there is a tad bit of hope and life in this season. And maybe there is something to this whole thing when the cameras come on, teams just play better. So we'll see if they can get it done in Mexico City. They'll have a couple of days to do it too as well. They're going to normal week of practice. They're going to get there a day early. Lina, what are you looking for? Your cat?
Yeah, I'm trying to see because my cat's name is Kugler, not like Sean Kugler, but I figured it was appropriate since
the ending. Look at you. The ending. Tell him to bring snacks.
He's been a little shy.
I knew she's going to get the cat. I was waiting for the tie-in.
There he is.
And there it is. No, he's not about this life. Oh, there he goes.
Get me out of here.
He's going all over the keyboard, but yeah, that's Kugler the cat, as in Ryan Coogler, as in Wakanda Forever, Black Panther. But he also goes by Cougs, like Coach Sean Kugler, O-line coach for the Arizona Cardinals.
Just like Coach Cougar walked out of frame. There we go. Walked out of frame.
Crop dust the running backs. My cat doesn't crop dust his teammates like Coach Kugler did in the end credits, which are always great.